Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Formula Fun podcast with me, Sinead.
And me, Jay. Wow. Silverstone, baby.
Well, well,
Always
well.
always delivers. I am a big fan of Silverstone and everything it stands for. It was a jam-packed weekend. Formula 3, Formula 2, F1 Academy, and obviously Formula 1. It was a sprint weekend, so it was just all the action.
To back,
And
yeah.
for those who don't know and are just catching up because they just happened to have stumbled on this, I also run a wedding entertainment business, and it is firmly wedding season. So seeing these races was hard, but
you did it,
and did it. I'm now about
and it was worth it.
It was definitely worth it. I'm about
Yeah.
to fly to Spain for another work thing, and we have to do this podcast tonight. I'm in a hotel in Dublin, so I haven't got my usual setup. So if you hear any weird noises, anyone might pop in. I'm in a hotel room. And Sinead is there with George Russell, who I imagine is also quite happy.
Well, I guess we'll get to it. It was not the outcome that despite my predictions that I gave last week, they were sort of coping predictions, we might say, and I was not expecting the outcome that we got. So I don't think a lot of people were. I don't think anyone was, to be honest.
No. Yeah, it was a race that. Okay, let's start off.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
Charles Leclerc wins his first race.
Right.
For a while.
He heard me slandering him. He heard me slagging him off the last few weeks, and he was like, I'm going to show her. I've still got it. And he did it, and he did it it was completely on his own merit. You know, while there were a lot of external factors at play, I don't think any of them would have affected him winning had things gone differently for other drivers, except maybe Kimi, but we'll come to that. I still think he put in a really, really strong race.
100%. I mean,
he's finally shown what he's capable of, I think, for the first time in a long time.
Okay, he's getting your respect, is what I'm hearing. He apparently had a sit down with himself between the sprint race and qualifying for the race, and just sat down and went through so much data. He went through driver onboards to understand what he is doing differently to other drivers, and it worked, which is amazing. And let's compare that to Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton started off the weekend, the only practice session, he was fastest. The sprint qualifying, he was fastest in every session. He was then on pole for the sprint race. He got done by Antonelli because Antonelli just has a quicker car. The Mercedes is still, by and large, faster in a straight line and is able to conserve power more, so the electrical energy works. Although watching the deployment in different parts of the track, seeing that there was the old turn 1 of Silverstone, the Ferrari was really quick down there. In fact, the Mercedes was slow down there, but then on the hangar straight, the main straight, they were lightning fast. So, yeah, let's compare that. Lewis Hamilton, Silverstone is his backyard. He's won there 9 times. Could have been a 10th. But then all of a sudden, Charles Leclerc out the box after the sprint race and nails qualifying and nails the race as well. Okay, Antonelli. What do you think about Antonelli? Do you not think he would have won?
I think that you can't say, can you? All I'm saying is that despite all of the things that happened and finishing under the safety car, I'm saying in no way was Leclerc's win handed to him, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
The fact that it finished under extenuating circumstances shouldn't detract from the race that he put in, because it was really good.
It was a really good stint. He held it together. The fact that Kimi Antonelli got basically mugged off the line by both Lewis and Leclerc, I was like, game on between the two Ferraris. Let's work as a team. And then Leclerc just started stretching his legs and getting further and further away. Lewis said that he put too much wing on the front of his car, which meant that it was quite a pointy car in terms of when I say pointy, I mean that when he steers into a corner, it's going to go in,
Hmm.
but maybe a little bit too much, which meant the rear tires just died, so he just
Hmm.
lost grip, wasn't able to keep up. Antonelli extended his first stint to be,
Like
God, it was
36
really
laps
late.
or
It was
something.
really late into
Yeah.
the race, yeah,
Yeah.
and he was still keeping relatively good pace. And then when he pitted onto new hards. He was 2 seconds a lap faster than Charles at some
Hmm.
points, and I was like, okay, Kimi Antonelli is going to
Who's going to
win
catch
this
him?
race by
Yeah.
12 seconds. I think he'll overtake him and get like 12 seconds on him. But then,
But then
poor Kimi, man. I
I
feel bad for. He's
know,
19. The kid's
I
19. He's not
know.
done anything wrong all season.
I know. And, I'm always torn when I'm watching it, especially just now, because as a George Russell fan, I was delighted that all of this stuff was going on around him. And he was just kind of, that classic George Russell thing, like P2 does nothing, that sort of a thing. Yeah. So that was like a classic him. But I really did feel for Kimmy. And you know what? Listening to him on the radio, like when he knew that all hope was lost and still saying like, I'm going to get that 1 point, I'm going to stay in 10th. I have, how, like he's not giving up, even if it just means like one extra point on his championship lead. So I thought like you can see his mentality and like how much he wants it and like how dedicated he is, which I thought was
Yeah.
really touching.
That's so yeah, so just to bring anyone up to date that hasn't been following the Formula One season so far, Kimi Antonelli hasn't put a foot wrong all year. He came second in Australia. He went on a massive winning
Winning
spree
spree.
until Barcelona, where in Barcelona his car conked out.
Hmm.
Austria was a bit of an outlier, didn't quite gel at one point, and also he abandoned his lap when Max Verstappen crashed. And then he was by far the fastest car towards the end of the race, but was only able to get third because he ran out of laps to overtake Verstappen and Russell. And in this race, I think he would have won. Maybe he wouldn't, but I think he would have won. It would have been really fun to see the battle between both of
Yeah.
Leclerc and Antonelli, and his car broke.
Yeah.
This wasn't an engine failure this time. Like it was an engine failure for George Russell in Montreal in Canada. It was an engine failure for Kimi in Barcelona.
Hmm.
This wasn't. Kimi Antonelli after Monaco had something like a 66-point lead or something in the 60s. It's now 25 points. Like, and he hasn't done anything. Like, and
No.
there's an argument to be said that later on in the season, if his driving dips for whatever reason, or if he just goes on a bit of a dip as a racing driver and a competitor, like I feel like the media or podcasts like us are going to jump down his throat and be like, "Oh, he's lost it. Like he's lost
Mm,
his head." But when we look at the points deficit that's shrunk down, none of it has been because of him.
no. No, it's all been because of things that are out of his control. But that's for part of Formula One, isn't it? Like it was even, it's not dissimilar really at the moment to the trajectory that Piastri had last season, where like first half of the season, everyone was like, yeah, it's in the bag. Piastri's got it. Like Lando is never gonna pull it back. And then, well, we all
He
know what
did.
happened in the end. Like his second stint,
Yeah.
second half of the season was pretty poor. Um,
Mm.
and he hasn't really got it back. Like, because he's someone that we haven't really spoken about very much because he hasn't really been
No,
featuring
he
in
hasn't.
the
He
top.
hasn't been there, has he? Yeah.
No.
McLaren's a weird one. McLaren are bringing a big update at some point to
Hmm.
a race soon, whether that is Spa or the Hungaroring in Budapest. I don't know, but history tells us that whenever McLaren bring an update, it does a lot for the car because their data points and their uh, development rate and is all very realistic from wind tunnel / simulations and things to when it
Hmm.
actually bolts in the car. We know that when they put an upgrade on, it works. But whether I don't know, it was sad to see the fact that Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen, they all weren't knocking about the front which
Hmm.
was what it was last year. Just
Yeah.
shows how much a big rule change and a rule set change can change the whole pecking order of the grid. Yeah, Oscar Piastri, where's he gone?
Don't know.
Don't know.
It
Don't
was
know.
quite something because when we were watching the race yesterday, sort of 2/3 of the way through, or like, because you know the way they show that graphic at the bottom of the screen every so often, like with the current results as they are, this is how the championship will fluctuate after this race, and
Mm.
it changes throughout the
Yeah.
race depending on who's in what position. So I think at this point, like Russell was like fifth, Kimi was in the top three, Hamilton was third, I think. I can't remember where Kimi was, but I actually turned to my partner and said, "Oh, like all I really need is for like Kimmy to like have a failure or like an engine failure, or maybe like for Max to like crash out or something." And like within, within, I swear to God, I was like, "Imagine if that happened."
And
And
it
then one
did.
after the
Both
other.
of them.
And here, do you know what? The Ferrari strategy call under the safety car. What did you think about that? So Ferrari called both of their drivers in for a tyre change with 5 laps to
Mm-hmm.
go.
Yep.
Russell stayed out. Well, we obviously know now who made the right call, but in the moment, what were your thoughts?
Okay, in the moment, I'm going to throw it back to you because I do have strong opinions of this. So in the moment, what did you think?
Well, maybe I have like a naive point of view because I don't know as much, but it shocked me that Hamilton didn't stay out. I thought there's only 5 laps left. We don't know how long the safety car is going to be. Now, obviously, they know more than I do because I don't know anything. But I was like, even though Russell's on really old tyres, is Hamilton really going to be able to catch him in one lap? Like, is there a possibility that he could hold him off for a single lap at the very end? And I didn't think that Hamilton should have risked getting. I honestly swear to God that I thought it was a bad call at the time.
Okay, interesting. So for those who didn't watch the race, how dare you? You should. But 5 laps before the end, Max Verstappen, his rear wing didn't close properly. He spun out. Second time it's happened in as many races,
Mm-hmm.
and he is livid.
He
We'll get on to
was
Max in a second.
fuming. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get on to Max in a second. But he crashed out, and that brought out the safety car. So I think the race could have got going at least for a 1 lap shootout at the end. I'll get into why that didn't happen and
Yeah.
also understand why it didn't happen. If they pitted Leclerc on softs, which is what they did, there was enough of a gap to do that to come out in front of Hamilton, and kept Hamilton out, Russell would have pitted. I don't know what the gap was for Russell to Norris, but I think Russell would have pitted. If Russell pits that final lap, if they would go racing, Russell is potentially winning the race because the tyre offset was huge. Because in terms of the amount of laps that hard tyre had done, takes a longer time. So after a safety car, the tyres are a little bit cooler because they haven't been going as fast. Take a little bit of time to warm up those tyres. The soft tyres switch on almost immediately, and he'd have so much more pace. So I think what Ferrari did, because I think also everyone assumed that, yes, let's move Max Verstappen's car out of the way and let's get this race underway again. It's in everyone's best interest to get the race going. Oh, excuse me, that was horrible. It's in everyone's best interest to get the race going again. So they would expect at least 1 or 2 laps at the end. Ferrari pitting, I think, made a lot of sense. If the race did get going, Russell was a goner, especially for Hamilton. He might be able to hold off Norris, but I think Hamilton would have definitely got him. If it was 1 lap, it might have been a bit harder, but I think in 2 laps, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Because the tyre offset was so huge. So I think Ferrari did everything, personally, I think Ferrari did everything right. Obviously, in
It was just
hindsight,
bad luck. Yeah.
yeah, those in hindsight, the safety car didn't come back in again. Although
Right. So
the penultimate lap, safety car
it
ending.
said, yeah, and then it came out again. Yeah, I saw that. I'm sure Russell was like, phew.
Yeah, he must have been
I
like,
mean,
oh,
in
thank
his
God for that.
interview, he 100% said, like, this is, he said, like, had we not finished under the safety car, I probably wouldn't be standing here or something like that. Like, so
Yeah.
he knows,
Yeah.
like he
He knows.
he's not, yeah.
So
So
then the reason
the
for
safety
that
car
was,
thing, yes.
yeah,
Go.
the reason for that was the due to a slight issue in 2021, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which featured Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Due to that small mishap on the FIA side of things, they have a rule that when the safety car is out, after the crash, the car, whatever, has been cleared out of the way, all
Mm-hmm.
lapped cars can overtake, which means they overtake everyone in the field, get behind, overtake the safety car. They go around to the back of the snake of the safety car line, and everyone's back in order on the same lap. Away we go. The rule states that after that announcement has been made that lapped cars can overtake, there needs to be an additional lap.
Mm-hmm.
Piastri was told to overtake and catch the back of the queue as he went across the start-finish line. Piastri was a little bit further back. That says to me that when the lead car, which was Leclerc, went over the line, they are technically on the last lap. The FIA have then gone, yeah, Max Verstappen's car's out of the way. Let's get lapped cars to overtake. But the penultimate lap had already finished. Had already started. So that penultimate lap is the lap for everyone to go around. There
Mm-hmm.
has to be, due to the regulations, an additional lap,
Another lap.
which just also happens to be the final lap of the race. They said it was a software glitch about the safety car ending. I think because it was so tight, someone mentioned that the safety car was even driving slower during the safety car
Mm-hmm.
period in the hope that they could get this car out of the
But
way.
yeah.
Let's try
Okay.
and get this race going.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it wasn't meant to be, unfortunately.
Why? This is probably a stupid question. Why don't they? Let's say a safety car does come out toward the end. Could they instate a rule that says, X percentage of laps before the end, if the safety car comes out, the laps that you do don't count? So they're just driving around, but the lap counter isn't going up. And then the safety car goes in and they just start from the lap number that they stopped on. That's a stupid question, isn't it?
It's not a stupid question. They could just throw out a red flag, which would basically stop the race and start it again. But we saw something similar to this happened in Australia a few years ago, and the first corner was carnage because everyone went, "I'm going to be a hero and try and win this race from
Mm-hmm.
17th." So they could have red flagged it and gone, "Let's start the race again, standing start, let's go."
Mm-hmm.
They could have. They can't do what you said because they'd run out of fuel. What I think would make sense, and F1 FIA, please listen to this because this would be great. If there is a race, I think every car should be filled for an additional 3 laps to what the race counter is. Doesn't really mean much else apart from they're just going to put a little bit of extra fuel in there. When everyone finishes, there has to be 3 laps worth of fuel in there, unless there's a safety car or there's some sort of issue where everything is under yellow flag, safety car, virtual safety car. We don't want the race to end in procession of how it has to because no one's allowed to overtake.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give ourselves a buffer, like a magic buffer of 3 laps if we need them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would work. But it would just mean you have to change the fueling of the cars. So sort of similar to what you said, like not
Mm-hmm.
just pause the race because that would just be a red flag and they just stop and in the pit lane, get rid of the car and then start again. But I think everyone had the intention of hoping this race would restart. But the booing from the crowd, sad times if you were watching the race. But
Yeah.
on the other hand of it, we had a really busy weekend, lots of really competitive action. Lewis Hamilton getting sprint pole was awesome. Lewis
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton leading that race for a while, pushing Antonelli. Lewis Hamilton's overtakes on Russell at one point, going into
Yeah.
Maggots and Beckett's, the really quick corners. I looked away from the TV because I thought airplane crash incoming. We had Leclerc on an absolute amazing pace for the Ferrari. We had Antonelli thinking he was going to catch up. We had Russell with a puncher. Did
Oh,
we forget about that?
yes,
Russell had a
no, I
puncher at one
know.
point, had to come in.
Yeah.
And we had Kimi Antonelli's car braking, Max Verstappen spinning it into the gravel. Like, it was an action-packed race. And I'm going to say it, for about 20 laps, I was like, God, this isn't the best Silverstone I've
Yeah.
seen. It's getting a little bit dull.
Yeah.
Everyone's just going around, everyone's happy, but it built up. It really did build up. So, who is the favourite for the championship?
I think it's still Kimi. I think
Do you think
as long, I mean,
Ferrari have a hope
I
at all?
mean, yeah, well, yeah. I think, luck does play a part in all of the drivers' trajectories. Um, I think he's kind of served his, I know that there's like not a quotient on luck, but he's had quite a bad run in a couple of races now. So if, things go his way and that's kind of the end of his struggles with external factors, I think, yeah. Um, I think George has also had quite a lot of bad luck. We've already talked about this, but I think now they're probably even Stevens on being dealt bad situations. Um, I mean,
Although,
yeah,
did
I
you hear
still
what Russell
think
said at the end of the race?
which bit?
He said that he felt better in Canada at the end of the Canadian Grand Prix, where his engine blew up.
Right.
He felt better at that race than he did in Silverstone because he was like, I need to fundamentally change something about how I'm driving this car
Yes,
because I can't keep up
it's
with
not
Kimi.
working.
Like that, and
Yeah,
that's a huge thing to say on media.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I hope he finds. I hope he finds more. Now, Russell won the 2024 Belgian Grand Prix. It was taken away from him because of a weight issue, but he
Hmm.
won that race. I hope. I for George's sake, for our sake, for your sake, from a fan's point of view sake, I really hope that George does well in Spa. And I really also don't want this championship to be decided due to malfunctions and reliability.
Sure.
Because
Yeah, no,
I
that
feel
would be not
bad for
fun.
Kimi. I feel
Hmm.
bad for Kimi because he hasn't put a foot wrong, and I feel bad for George because I just think he's sort of scratching his head, going, "Eh,
What's
why,
happening? Yeah,
why can't I keep up?"
yeah. No, you're right. And actually, Leclerc's win is twofold good. So the first one being that Leclerc won. So it'll do wonders for his confidence and like give him a bit of fire back again, which I think he really needed. But his win has meant that the championship is now more interesting because he's taken away those points from the leader and the potential leaders as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any
So we have it's a 25-point deficit to George. Lewis is
and
just a little
then
bit further back, and then Charles is a little bit further back from that. So yeah, four horse race for the championship. Max Verstappen, let's go.
right. Uh this could be the record for how many times he cursed on the radio. I mean, I'd imagine that the count is pretty high generally with him, but there was quite a lot of bleeping going on. Um, he just seems fed up. And you know what? I'm sitting here refreshing my Reddit feed because have you seen today that like Will Buxton and Ronan Murphy, who I think is quite a big F1 reporter, are both saying there's a huge announcement coming. So this guy Ronan has said this announcement is going to shake Formula One to its core. Exploding head emoji. And Will Buxton has tweeted something that's almost a mirror of what he tweeted the day that Hamilton was signed to Ferrari.
Well, yes, he was visibly angry after the crash, and then also in his post-race interview, he said, "It's actually getting really dangerous for me." We've got to think about Max. He's a dad now. He sends it whenever he can. He's very committed, but that is the second race in a row and they said it was two separate issues. Whereas he
Hmm.
turned his car into Stowe, which is the corner he crashed in Silverstone. As he turned the car in, his rear flap hadn't fully shut, which is what creates all the aerodynamics, slams the car into the ground. Whereas when it's open, it becomes loose, and I'm going to say my favorite word, squirrely.
Squirrely.
And it just took him out of the race. There was a wall there, not good, not pretty in the slightest, and it's the second time in as many races. So he said it's getting dangerous. Like you said, a lot of bleeps in his message, and he also said to a journalist, "I can't wait to get home and not think about Formula One."
Yeah. So it's not good. So the biggest speculations are that if there is an announcement, which there may not be, but it's fun to speculate, it'll either be to do with Max, whether leaving or switching teams or something, or it'll be to do with Christian Horner
He was in the paddock for
returning
the
to
first
Formula
time.
One. He was. Or it'll be to do with the reinstatement of races that have been cancelled.
Okay. Maybe.
Let's
Bahrain,
see.
Saudi. That's not huge though, is it?
No, that isn't. Yeah,
What's
no.
Verstappen doing? Is he just going to leave? Where's he
Yeah,
going
I
to
think.
go? Where can he go?
I actually watched a YouTube video about this so essentially what I can tell, and I mean, you don't know because like most people just make stuff up. They don't really know what they're talking about. Imagine that. But this video was saying that realistically, nothing could be done for him before 2028. So like
Done
any of the
for him? As in
drivers,
like,
like
oh, I
nothing could
see.
be done
Right.
for him, you know, any of the drivers that have been put forward as potential swaps or whatever you want to call it, like Piastri, Russell, they're all locked in until at least 2028. Now, the other argument for that is, I'm sure there's a way to not have that be a binding contract that involves a lot of money. And if Max is involved, the teams probably would spend it on him to get him in their seat.
Oh well, they'll make it. They'll make everything back on what they paid for him in sponsorship
Hmm.
anyway. 100%.
Hmm.
It's just where makes sense. Mercedes seems to be the only thing that makes sense, but Toto has outright come out and said he's not wanted. Not wanted. I'm sure he's wanted, but there's no room at the inn, sort of thing.
Yeah.
McLaren have said the same thing.
Hmm.
Ferrari aren't letting go of their wonder boy, nor are they letting go of Lewis Hamilton because of what he does to their stocks. Like I just don't know where he got. Maybe he's just like, I'm done.
Apparently he did have a meeting with Zach Brown though, like last week.
His people did, yeah.
But that might have just been like Zach Brown saying, no, sorry.
Could have been. Who knows?
Although
Who knows?
arguably, if Piastri continues his current run of form, there might be grounds for them to let him go. Imagine if he ended up back at Alpine.
Oh my God, could you imagine? I think it has to be a swap. If something happens with Piastri,
Yeah.
Zach Brown will not want his driver going without a drive. And Piastri is brilliant.
Really
So
good. Yeah, no, he is really good.
it would have to be a swap. But does he want to go to McLaren? Lando and Verstappen and McLaren would be great to watch.
Yeah, it would. And I think, like we were talking last week about, you were saying the main reason you think that Max wouldn't go to Mercedes is that him and Kimi wouldn't be a good fit for each other. And I think you're right. Whereas I think Max and Lando would work well together.
Could be.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, this has just turned into a little chat between us, hasn't it? It's been, but I've loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
Okay, should we head over to our predictions?
Yes.
Okay, so qualifying last at the Silverstone Grand Prix. For those who don't know, we do our little predictions, each of us. If Sinead has somebody and I had the same person, I've got to change because Sinead is newer to this than I am in terms of the sport. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 categories. Qualifying, who qualifies last, who gets pole position, who is best of the rest. And when I say best of the rest, we have 4 teams that are probably always going to be in the top 8 positions. That is McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes. So we vote for who is basically going to be P9, position 9, at the end of a race, expecting the other teams to finish. Then we have the top 5 at the end of the race. So, qualifying last, I had Lance Stroll, which I thought was a good bet, and you went for Valtteri Bottas in his Cadillac, and it was an Aston Martin, but it was Alonso, which I think is only the second time he's been out-qualified by Stroll, which really upsets me. But he did win the Lego race. Did you see that? He won the Lego race at the
I
start
did
of the
see
race
that.
when they all
And in
took
a way, that's the most important race of the weekend. So fair play to him.
and I think he genuinely took it like he was very happy about winning this race
Yeah.
because he's not going to win anything else anytime soon. Then pole position. Pole position, I went for Mr. Kimi Antonelli, the young whippersnapper that he is, and you went for George Russell, your boy, who got pole.
Not him.
No, but it was Kimi Antonelli.
Yes, it
1
was.
point. Needed it because last week was truly dire. Best of the rest. I hoped the Alpine of Pierre Gasly would do well, and I'm going to say it now. You said Lindblad in the
Yes,
Racing
I
Bulls.
did.
I think Racing Bulls are firmly the 5th best team. Like
They are. Yeah.
everyone else has
They've been
dropped off.
putting in brilliant races. Yeah.
And this
Both
race,
of them.
both of them. And this race was not Lindblad. It
No.
was indeed Liam Lawson, his teammate. So we might have to change this best of the rest and put a little Racing Bulls in there and people that aren't in Racing Bulls because it seems to be it's going to be a flip-flop between Lindblad and Lawson at the moment. Crazy. Anyway, no points for either of us with my Gasly and your Lindblad prediction. Then, in 5th place, actually, I'm just going to reel it out. In 5th place was Hadjar. 4th place was Norris. 3rd place was Hamilton. 2nd place Russell. 1st place Leclerc. We get 1 point if a driver we name is in the top 5. We get 2 points if it is bang on. In 5th place, I had Norris. You had Verstappen. It was Hadjar, which gives me 1 point because Norris was 4th, and 0 points to you, Sinead, because he ended up in the gravel. In 4th place, I had Charles Leclerc. You had Kimi Antonelli. Kimi Antonelli broke his car. No points to Sinead. Leclerc won the race. 1 point to me. In 3rd place, I had your boy, George Russell. And you had Norris. Norris finished 4th, so you get 1 point. And Russell finished 2nd, so I also get 1 point. In 2nd place, I had Kimi Antonelli. Nope. And you had Lewis Hamilton, which was close. He came 3rd, so you get 1 point. In 1st, you had Russell for 1 point because he came 2nd, and I had Hamilton also for 1 point, who came 3rd, which takes your points this week to 3 and mine to 5, which makes me on. He extends his lead ever so slightly. So Jay is now on 45 and Sinead is now on 35. 10-point deficit. Wow. Still all to play for. Still all to play for. Right.
Yes, it is.
Any other talking points that you'd like to chat about, or should we move on to our quizifying and our Who Am I?
I don't think so. I feel like there was a lot of drivers that sort of just like the Williams drivers. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I didn't even see them in the race at all. I was just like, where have they gone? Also, Haas, like, feeling a bit sorry for Ollie Behrman. I don't think Ocon is going to have a seat next year.
I agree with you. I think he's gone.
So, but yeah, no, in terms of Silverstone, I think we've covered all the bases.
Yeah, let me just have a quick look down
we're not
here.
going to do predictions now, are we? Because we have a week before Spa.
We do. We have a week before Spa. So I am just going down to see things. So yeah, we had Gabriel Bortoleto actually, who got a well-deserved 8th place. Well done, Gabriel Bortoleto. You've increased your points from 2 to 6, which is great for Audi. Pierre Gasly, Franco Colapinto in 9th and 10th, good. Oscar Piastri, dire race, awful, but it all came undone for him on the first lap. Ollie Behrman and Esteban Ocon, Sergio Perez in 14th. Nice. This would have all been different had Kimi Antonelli not got that 5-second penalty for a pointless reason. Valtteri Bottas and then Sainz.
Yeah.
Must have
Also,
pulled in somewhere because
Hulkenberg
he was left
crashed
behind.
out, which was sad
Hulkenberg's
for
car
him
switched
because
off.
he won third last year. So it would have been nice for him to,
Yeah.
finish in the points.
Yeah, his car switched off and the engine went, which was sad to see. Right, would you like to go with your quizifying, Sinead?
Yes, I would like to do that. It's a short and sweet one this week.
Lovely.
And it is about a current driver on the grid. Which driver on the current grid has no fewer than 15 pet cats?
That would be Carlos Sainz's teammate, Alex Albon.
Well done! Yeah.
Yay.
That's right. Do you want to hear all their names?
Yes, I do.
Yes. So we have Freaky, Moo, Gucci, Stan, Ducky, Goosey, Sasha, Blue Bear, Gigi, Hippo, Tiger, Wolfie, White Dove, Simba, Cookie Mouse, and Bunny. That is a lot of cats.
Cookie Mouse.
Cookie Mouse.
Cookie Mouse.
Yeah.
Cookie Monster, but Cookie Mouse.
Yeah,
I like
exactly,
Ducky,
yeah.
Goosey, and Wolfie. Ducky, Goosey, and Wolfie I like. And Stan. Stan's a good name for a cat.
Yeah. I mean, I have one cat, and that's like more than enough for me to look after. I don't know how 15
really
is
weird.
It's like a lot of cats. That is. Can I say that's too many? Can I say that that's too many cats? As a cat lover.
I just find it. I find it weird that Alex Albon is definitely a dog person as well. Why has he got 15 cats? If he prefers
What?
dogs?
Because he's like
Joking.
literally a golden retriver, like he's a human version of a golden retriever.
He is. Puppy dog energy for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Good quizifying. Right. We're going to go to Who Am I? Okay. Who am I? I was raised in Paris and began karting when I was 7 after falling in love with Disney Pixar film Cars. I also competed in judo and boxing. I competed in F3 and came 3rd in my championship, and then moved to F2 and came 2nd in my 2nd year. I'm nicknamed Le Petit Prost after champion and legend Alain Prost. Known for my radio rants, I joined F1 and have recently graduated to a big team where I'm doing my best not to live in the shadow of one of F1's greats. Who am I?
Isa Kajar.
Yeah!
You had me in the first one because I was like, is it Liam Lawson? Because he famously loves Cars, the movie.
Loves the film Cars.
So they obviously bonded over that in their time at Racing Bulls together. Oh, that's sweet. I like Hajar, but he is a bit mental, isn't he? Like the way he goes off on one. He's very
you wouldn't want to get him on a bad day.
No.
You would not want to get him on a bad day. Oh, lovely. Right. We have nearly reached the end of our podcast this week. We will be back next week at some point to talk all things Belgium and Spa Grand Prix. If you have been listening, if you have been liking any of our videos on social media or indeed this podcast, please feel free to like, rate, subscribe.
Follow.
What else can you do?
Share.
Follow, share. It really helps us grow our little community. And also, if you ever want to pop in a question, feel free. There is a link on our Instagram page to do so. But thank you very much for listening. You have been listening to the Formula Fun podcast.
Where Jay brings the formula.
Yep, and Sinead brings the fun. Thanks very much for listening, everyone. Bye.
Beep, beep.